And we're here.
And
Hello.
hello, and welcome to Women Conquer Business. I'm Jen McFarland, joined by Shelley Carney, and thank you so much for being here. Today, we're going to talk about how to boost your business visibility just with community involvement and getting out there and showing up. How
That's
are
right.
you, Shelley?
Hi. So today I'm in a different studio because it snowed like crazy and the roads are covered in snow. And here in New Mexico, we are kind of iffy on our snow plowing ability. So it's a little bit more like, you know what, if we wait till afternoon, it'll melt. So just let it, so we don't do things in the mornings when it snowed the day before, basically. That's how
And
it
well,
goes.
which is actually better than Portland, where we have like one snow plow. And if there's even a hint that it could possibly maybe snow, then schools are closed. And then sometimes it doesn't actually snow and all the kids are home. Although, during COVID, there's really no snow days, I guess, anymore. But it's interesting. It's interesting for me as somebody from Idaho to live someplace where snow is such a big deal.
It is. It is a big deal. Well, yeah, you grew up where it snows all the time, right?
It used to, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Boise, it snows quite a bit. So
Yeah.
so what's been happening over there? You wanna talk about the book?
I
Like, what
do.
else is up?
So we did get the book published. Toby and I, yeah, Toby says his east-facing driveway is already melted. So he's in an area where they don't get much in the way of heavy weather. He's 10 minutes away from me, but the weather is different. It's very odd. So on Sunday last week, we finished our final edit and uploaded the book to Amazon and, you know, goodbye, hope to see you soon. And the next morning it was for sale. So that's how quickly it can happen. It's a simpler process than it was when we did it the first time a couple of years ago in 2020. We published a book and it was a little more of a mess, but this time is simpler. Amazon's made some improvements, so it's a lot quicker to publish a book. And so I'm going to share with you the book that I'm talking about. It's called Women in Podcasting: The Messages and Methods Interviews. And Jen and I are both in this book. This is when I met Jen for the first time. It's a wonderful interview that where we're talking about small business and women in podcasting and what's going on at the conference. And Jen was a speaker at the conference and a sponsor, so she was very involved in the She Podcasts Live 2021 conference, and we got a lot out of that conference, including 18 interviews with wonderful women, and we took those 18 interviews, made podcast episodes out of them, and then transcribed them and put all the transcriptions together in a book. Toby and I also did a couple of shows, one to create the introduction chapter and one to create the epilogue chapter. And then I wrote my own chapter answering all the questions that I had asked the women. And then we put it all together in a book and we created a cover and boom, we're
And then
published.
this link that I just put up online, this Atticus, that's what you used, correct? To, like, get
We
it.
actually didn't need it.
Oh, you didn't?
All we
Oh,
used was
wow.
Word. It was
You
very
did?
yeah.
Okay. So
So they
Microsoft Word allowed you to do this whole
all
process.
of it, yeah, because they accept DocX now. So, uh, super easy compared to what it used to be. Used to
That's
have
great.
to get it translated into a Mobi file, and it was a pain, and now it's
Wow.
super easy. So I encourage anybody who's a content creator who's thinking about, I'd like maybe to put a book up on Amazon. How hard is it? It's so much easier than it used to be. So give it a try.
That is crazy. I'm gonna add that into the
Yeah,
chat. So, you can use Microsoft Word to get your book on Amazon. Like, that's amazing to me.
it
So,
is.
make sure that you do that. Make sure that you check out this book. I mean, if I do say so myself, there's at least one chapter that's amazing. No, I'm just kidding. All of them are amazing because I know I met most of the people that you interviewed
Mhm.
at She Podcasts, and everybody was great. Like, that was
Yeah,
a wonderful
yeah.
experience overall, and I think that seeing you release this book gave me a lot to think about because I have I've got 2 years worth of shows and, like, there have been some really great moments.
Yeah.
So, I've been thinking about how to, honor what the show has done and some of the cool things we've talked about in a way that we can share it with people. So, I think that this is very inspirational. I think it's also, the fact that you can just make a book, like, and you don't have to be super technical, I think is
Mhm.
very inspirational for a lot of people, and I know that a lot of my clients and people that I talk to would be super, super into it. Um,
So if you just wanna go straight to it and find it really easy, you can type in our little, uh, um, URL here, books.agkmedia.studio, and that will take you to all of the books that Toby and I have written, all 2 of them,
all
and
2 of them.
and then you can pick this one
Hey,
and go
2 is
check it
better than
out.
0, you know?
Hey, and, also, if, uh, if you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read it for free. So, yeah,
Oh, wow, that's great.
yeah.
Look at that.
So, okay.
So, um, what was I oh, my brain left me. Oh, so what I've been working on, so I'm and this is why I'm kinda like, "Oh, what's going on? Hey." I just got back into town last night from, Southern Oregon, where I was teaching digital marketing. I teach for a lot of small business development centers kind of around the state so that people can learn about digital marketing. These are small business owners. I had 2 people, this was so interesting. I had 2 people in these classes. Typically, those classes are for people who wanna grow their business, and I had 2 people in there who were like, "Well, we don't really want new customers. We don't know why we need marketing." And I was like, "What?" So, we spent a lot of time, and I was like, "So, think about this in the future then. Like, pay
Wow.
attention to this for your future time," and a lot of it what people don't understand is word of mouth and referrals, they do tend to run out at some point. So you have
Right.
even if you have like a great referral pipeline, if
Mhm.
it's not something that's super formalized and you don't have like a contract or an agreement to bring people in all the time, that can really run dry. Like you only have so many friends, they only have so many friends. That's why you need marketing is some way to kind of stay front of mind. So that was really
That's right.
interesting to me. I pay attention to a lot of the questions and so if you have resistance to marketing, understand that at some point you may need it. The other thing that was cool was and it was the same 2 folks in there who were saying, we also really know who we like and we don't want people that we don't like. And I was like, that's the beauty of marketing is that you can attract the people that you do like and then the way that you talk about things like your values and the services you offer and what it is that you do, it will naturally begin to appeal to the people who are most aligned with what it is that you do and how you do it. And that really seemed to resonate with them a lot too. So it's a really interesting, I love those classes because I always learn so much about kind of where business owners are, I guess, in terms of like marketing and like what it means to do marketing. Um, so that was really cool. And then I leave town day after tomorrow. So I kind of feel like I'm here to do the show. This is like a brief, like little dip back into my reality, and then I'm gonna leave again. And one of the reasons that this show is on the topic that it is that something else really cool happened a few days ago, but I will leave that for the main training portion, I guess, of it. So, what do you have in terms of breaking news?
Oh,
Do you
well,
want to talk about Descript and all of that stuff, or
I'll just briefly mention that Toby and I are starting a new book series, and we're doing it by interviewing experts in digital marketing. So we hope that you, once again, Jen, will be involved in this project. And
okay?
we're interviewing digital marketing experts and consultants, and we have the same set of questions, same 15 questions for each person. And then we will take each question and make that into a chapter. So
Oh
we'll take
wow.
the best
Okay.
answers from people and put it together into a chapter. So
Oh, that's
uh,
amazing.
look
Okay.
for that this summer. And we do
Nice.
hope that you'll be involved in that.
Cool.
The other breaking news thing, or maybe I'll save that for tweak of the week. I'll save my
You're gonna
descript for tweak of the
save
week.
your
Do you have
Or
any breaking news?
did you say Descript? Is that what you were saying? You're gonna
Yeah,
say
I'll
that?
save that for
Okay.
the
Yeah,
tweak.
because that's so if you're not familiar with Descript, and maybe we'll just skip ahead then to the main meat of the show, and we can both talk because that was gonna be my tweak of the week or
Oh,
my breaking news too is, so if you're not in podcasting or content creation, you may not know about this program called Descript. And it's spelled like description. You just take off the un. It's just descript.com. And it's a really powerful tool that a lot of people use. Think about it if you have anything, any videos or anything like that that you want to edit. We'll put a pin in that and then we'll come back to that at the end because they've been adding a lot of cool things that you may be interested in as business owners. And we could talk about that at the end of the show.
you betcha.
So, the topic that we're talking about today is how to boost business visibility, and it's about community. So, if you think about your community as the people around you, the people in your local community, could be your online community, could be your business community, or a combination of all of it. I like to think that for me, it's kind of a combination of everything. So, it's like all the people I've known forever, and then all the new people I've learned, and then people that I've never actually met before that are on social media. They could be watching or listening right now, or both. And then I've had some some really amazing things happen in my business since starting that like I'd never ever expected. So let's just talk for just a minute. So when I was walking on Sunday after the documentary film crew left my house. I was walking to lunch with my husband and I said, "Who would have thought 5 years ago when I started my business that I would have met a former Miss Singapore and had been contacted by a European ebook company to share content on there, and that a documentary film crew would want to film me to talk about digital marketing." And he's like, we both were like, this would never have happened before. It was like not even on the radar of possibilities when you say, "Oh, I'm leaving my job and I'm starting a business and like anything's possible." Like when you think anything's possible, there's still things out there that happen that you're like, but really anything is possible, right?
That's right.
And I think that anybody who started a business, you probably all have that same thing. Like all of these little mini wins that have happened, and each thing that happens can really help you advance your business. Or sometimes we all make decisions that are mistakes that take a lot of time, that maybe don't boost it, and it's all part of the journey. Wouldn't you say, Shelley?
Yeah, and it's what makes it fun and interesting too, because things that you never would have imagined can pop up.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing. And so I guess that to kind of start or stop or whatever, like I thought about it this week where I was like, what would happen if I actually like had like a PR person or anything like that? So I want to begin by saying I'm talking about organic business boosting. This isn't I haven't paid for any of this.
Mhm.
It's just and I always look at it as serendipity or kismet or, whatever you want to call it. And at the same time, I have to be really frank and say, and it's a lot of hard work. So there's like two sides of it when things happen. So having a podcast was maybe one of the biggest thrills ever. It's been really great for me. It's been really fun and I've learned a lot. And it was my friend Betsy Carver, who I've known for 20 plus years, who said, Jen, you should probably have a podcast. That would be kind of fun. And so I'm always grateful to her. I think about her in relationship to the podcast a lot because it was just sort of a friend who made like an offhand comment. And I was like, I'm going to say yes to that. And so I started doing that. And right after I started the podcast, as business owners, we get pitched. Sometimes it seems like we get pitched like 25 times a day, and most of it is, I'm sorry to say, most of it is junk and it's fake or it's spam or whatever. And then it's really about knowing what to say yes to. So when I heard from this European company and they said, "So we're starting to do audio lessons. We like the stuff that you're teaching. Uh, can we put this on our platform?" And I was like, "Okay, like what has to happen?" And I had my editor help me with, editing the audio to meet their standards. And then I didn't think about it because they were supposed to pay me. And I was like, well, I don't know if this is real or not. I researched it, it looked real. And then, like, 6 months later, they're like, so we need to know where to deposit the money. And I was like, so what you want? So this is the long con, right? Like, you want to know my bank information. You want my bank information. You're fake,
Mhm.
So I emptied out the bank account, sent them the merchant details, and $300 showed up in my bank account. And I was like, what else would you like me to make? Like, because then it was like a real thing.
Yeah.
And so it was and that was a company I'd never heard of. Nobody's ever heard of it. And they continue to ask me for things, and all of the old stuff is up there, and then new stuff. So if I hadn't said yes to that, if I just kind of discarded it as like more junk, then I would have missed this great opportunity that's turning into something, bigger for my business, and can at times bring me clients because it's large companies that are on there learning things. And if they like me, they have access to like reach out to me. So that was one of the first things that ever happened that
Well, let
was
let me ask you
unusual.
this. I have recently been contacted by a company that says they're launching, online learning platform, and they would like learning bits from people, and they reached out to me on LinkedIn. So what should be my, vetting process? What should I do to make sure that this is legitimate and something I wanna be involved in?
Yeah. So for me, when I do this, whether it's an email or through LinkedIn, is kind of a two-step process, right? So, first of all, I mean, the first pass is this even interesting? Like, because if you don't have any interest in doing it, then don't do it. The second pass then is, researching the person who messaged you and seeing if you can find out more information about them, um, and what they've accomplished, and then researching the company. And if it's really impossible to find the company, that's a big red flag. And
Mhm.
if you research the person and the person that's showing up in your inbox or in your messages doesn't seem congruent with the person that you find out online, or you can't find that person anywhere online, or you can't find that person in connection with the company that they say that they're from, then those are all big red flags that you just kind of step away and say no. If it all aligns and the research pays off and it's something you're interested in, then it's worth a call or a conversation. But they have to be willing to talk to you and explain it to you and answer your questions. So that's like kind of the second rung is like, are you going to meet with me? What does that conversation look like?
I see. Alright. That's helpful,
Yeah.
thank you.
And then after that, after they tell you what it is, if you want to do it, then you just do it.
Mhm.
But that's kind of the process that I go through. I'm also the person online who, when I see reviews, like online reviews, I also, when I'm vetting a company, I will research if those are real people who've left real reviews.
Mm.
And I know it sounds dumb, but there are a lot of fake reviews out there. So
Mhm.
make sure that those people are real. And that will tell you a lot about any company that you want to do business with, especially, if somebody has an offer that just seems too good to be true. So let's fast forward to 8 months ago. I wrote a blog post about a program called ClickFunnels. And ClickFunnels, for those of you who don't know, is sales funnel software run by a man named Russell Brunson, who a lot of people have heard of. He writes a lot about sales funnels. So, what a sales funnel is really your sales process. So, as a business owner, you do marketing and visibility, and you talk to people, and you're trying to get your message out to as many people as possible. And any process that you have now is technically a sales funnel. You maybe talk to a lot of people, and then some people are interested. So you've kind of narrowed down from maybe talking to 100 people, and then maybe only 20 are interested. And then you find a way that you can continue to talk to those 20 people. And then after that, maybe only 5 people are super interested. And then you figure out how to convert a portion of those 5 people into customers. And that fundamentally is a sales funnel. Like, you have a process to bring new people in, and you figure out a way to convert a handful of those into clients. And then if you're bigger, you scale that up and, and all that kind of stuff. So what happens is when people start a business, especially if they want to start an online business, they can get lured into something like a ClickFunnels, which is great software. If you're an established business and you have a team and people who really know how to write sales copy and who really know and understand what it looks like to have an online sales process. Most of the companies that I work with don't need that. It's really sophisticated. It's all these upsells and downsells and, squeeze pages and and if none of that makes any sense to you, you're not ready for ClickFunnels yet. Like, long story short,
Yeah.
the blog post I wrote, it was a review of ClickFunnels based on personal information, personal dealings with clients. I've never been a customer of ClickFunnels, but I've stepped into a lot of situations with the software where it's not working for people and they say, "Jen, please fix this for me." It's really expensive software. It's like starts at $100 a month and it can be up to I think they now have a top tier that's like $3,000 a month. And then the middle tier is like 300. So I wrote this blog post out of frustration because there are a lot of simple features that like any shopping cart should have. Anybody who's buying online or if you're selling something online, these are features that every piece of software should have. And it's been very buggy for many of my clients. And I got tired of fixing it all the time. And I kept saying, "Oh, I should really write a blog post about this. I should really write a blog post about this." And my friends were like, "You really should." Like, so I spent, I don't even know, hours and hours because I felt really passionate about this. I felt like this was something that wasn't serving my people and that I really needed to talk about. And I love to write. As much as I love podcasting and video, I love to write. It's like my first love. So I sat down and I worked on it for a really long time. Like I wrote chunks of it out over probably 2 months, and then I had several people read it. And then I posted it and I shared it. And then I worked on the search engine optimization for like off and on for like months, just kind of kept tweaking it. Well, then I forgot about it because I created other content and I kind of moved on. And then, unbeknownst to me, this article that I wrote is like at the top of Google for some terms related to ClickFunnels, and it happened. So then last week, a documentary film company found me and messaged me on LinkedIn, and I did the same process I just described of like, "Is this for real? Who is this?"
Mhm.
"Are you just trying to get money from me?" And I researched the person, the company, like all kinds of stuff, and I was like, "Sure, I'll talk to you." And we met by Zoom, and then last Sunday, I had a filmmaker from Portland who basically piped the interview into these directors, who were in Dallas, who were asking me questions about digital marketing. And they're following a lot of online marketers around, and I'm the Shelley said, "You were like the mom." And
That's right.
I prefer to say I was the voice of reason, you know, that I was the person who was sitting there saying, "Well, this is what digital marketing is. This is what a sales funnel is. This is how this works." And if and so people think like, "How does this stuff happen to you, Jen?" Like everybody asks me, and I'm like, I just make the things that I care about. And that's what I think every business owner needs to do is if you feel passionate about something, if you care about something, make it, do
Mhm.
it. Because if you just keep thinking about it, you're never going to show up for it. And a lot of people don't understand that there's no such thing as an overnight success. Overnight success happens over months or
Mhm.
years.
Mhm.
And just like you've learned everything that you know, all of your expertise takes time to develop, so does knowing and reaching out and doing stuff and having people find you. So if I had like written a blog post and nobody noticed it right away and I was like, "Well, I'm never going to blog again."
Oh, we
Yeah,
only had one person watch our show. I'm not gonna do the live stream
yeah,
anymore.
I'm not live streaming, nobody's watching. Then what is the world missing out on?
Exactly.
What is the world missing out on? So, my advice to every business owner out there is if you want to boost your business's visibility, if that's something that you really want to do, you need to find the ways to show up and show up consistently and show up in a way that makes sense to you that allows you to shine. For me, that's blogging and talking about things in digital marketing that may seem counterintuitive or at times controversial, uh, that are really just kind of based in common sense.
Well, let me add to that because you brought up the word controversial. If you have a polarizing opinion, then you're going to get more notice. And that is, I think, what Jen has done here. And a polarizing opinion just means you take a firm stand. And maybe you disagree with the cultish rah-rah people, and that's okay if you have the reasons to back up your opinion, and you do. You have that logic that supports your opinion, and it is polarizing because people are going to say, "Well, I like that," or "I like that." Which one is the right one for me? And that draws that extra attention, which it's done in this case.
It has, and I think that and for me, I say, "Look, I'm not for everybody, and if it doesn't work for you, um, I really truly hope that you find the person that it works for." It doesn't mean that you are lacking in anything. It just means that it's not a fit,
That's right.
and there are a lot of people in marketing who are different than that, and I think that what I'm really speaking out against and what makes me controversial is that I don't think that if you disagree with me, it means you're lacking something. I'm not
No.
constantly marketing. Like, I am truly sharing some things about marketing, but I'm not always selling to you. I'm not always marketing to you. I'm sharing what I know, and if that's interesting to you, then please do come and join me, you
That's
know,
right.
in what it is that I do. And that is what boosts visibility is
Mhm.
if you're just selling all the time, if you're just hammering at people all the time about the same stuff, it's boring. People get bored. They wanna know what's in it for them. And one of the ways that you can really think about what's in it for other people and boost your visibility is answering customer questions, talking about the things that you've seen that are infuriating or that you wish would be different, and offering solutions. That was the other thing that I do in every blog post or everything is like you offer solutions. So I said, ClickFunnels is for you if XYZ. And if that doesn't sound like you, then here are some alternatives that I personally think are better. you know, and it's about solving problems. It's always got to be about solving problems. So when you show up consistently, you begin to build community around your ideas and your thoughts, and then that adds to your ability to boost your business's visibility and then also others, and so it's about sharing what you're doing and then sharing what other people are doing in a way that amplifies all communities and helps other people. And I think that when we talk about on an organic level, like how this stuff really happens, how you increase your visibility, it's about showing up, it's about helping other people, and it's about doing something consistently that does all of those types of things.
That's right. Now, one of the things that i- is a community for both of us is She Podcasts. That's where we met. We met a lot of
Yeah.
great ladies there. Another one might be uh, a mentorship group or a monthly online event that you attend, a mastermind where you might meet other people. One of the women that I interviewed at She Podcast, Melanie Hirschhorn, I met
Mhm.
her before that in a um, mastermind, so I was able to bring her in for an interview as well.
Sure.
So doing those things, finding those community events that you can participate in, then you can connect with people, and then you can collaborate with them, you can work with them in some way, or they may know people that they can refer to you once they find out what you do. So it is it's a way to just instigate some activity, right? Some shake things up and say, I'm not getting any action right now. How can I get some action? Well, maybe I should go investigate this meetup group, or maybe I should go, to my chamber of commerce, and they're having an event. Maybe I should go to that. Just we have to continually try to do activities and participate with people, and build those relationships, because that's where more business is going to come from.
Absolutely, and I love this comment. People are more likely to accept your opinion if your opinion helps them solve a problem. And I think that that's 100% true. On an earlier show, I think we talked about how search engine optimization or getting found on Google is about answering customer questions. And that is entirely what I base a lot of my business on. Like, I'll go into the She Podcast Facebook group, and people ask all kinds of questions, and
Mhm.
I provide answers. The answer is never download my free ebook. Like, even my answer is always like, here, like, here's a resource, or here's some help, and and all that kind of thing. And then you become that resource, and then when people need it for something else, it becomes a natural extension, like, oh, maybe I should talk to Jen, or maybe I should talk to Shelley. And I think that that's entirely true. I think that we all have opinions, we all have things that we do that are different, and what we can do is help each other, help one another. Like, another way of putting it is this: when I met you, and you were like, "Oh, I help people understand technology, and I work with, like, mid-career entrepreneurs." One person would have been like, one side of Jen could have been like, "Well, that's what I do." Like, and then you just kind of end the conversation, or it could be the way that I look at it truly, which is, "Oh, wow, I do the same thing. Tell me more." And then you kind of figure out how you can communicate and collaborate, because no two people help solve the same people, and no two people does everything the other one does. And so a lot of times boosting business visibility means talking to and collaborating with the people who are in the same industry as you, because that's where there's a lot of opportunity, because we're all helping customers and clients, and we can send people to each other if we don't just look at it as, I have to have all of the clients all the time.
Right, and we can't anyway, because you're never, we actually do very different things that we found out. Yeah, if you look at
Yeah.
it broadly, we do the same thing, but we very much focus on encore entrepreneurs and live streaming, and you very much focus on helping people to get their marketing set up for their small business,
Yeah.
and not really focusing on live streaming and all of that, but really
No,
focusing on the automation tools and all of the things that are working and what they still need to add in. It's totally
it's
different.
totally different. And here's the thing, like, I've spent the last like, over the last 2 or 3 days, I've gotten, I think, 2 or 3 requests for web development, things that I
Mm,
could do, but it's just I'm stepping back from that for a while. And
mhm.
I've just been like, "Oh, you need to talk to this person, you need to talk to this person."
Yeah.
If somebody comes to me for live streaming, I'm gonna send them to you. Like, all of that kind of stuff. And that's how you boost visibility too, because then almost invariably the emails I've sent out, to my colleagues, they're like, "Okay, so what are you doing now so I can send people to you?" Like, that's part of how all of this works. And I know a lot of people um who don't operate like that. And the truth is, just like you said, Shelley, we cannot help all of the people. We just can't.
No, we can't,
It's
and
not
we
even
shouldn't.
possible.
We shouldn't
And
even
we shouldn't.
try.
We shouldn't even try. And I think there are a lot of people who come at things from this place of like, lack or scarcity. And I can
Mhm,
tell you,
mhm.
like, when I started my business, I helped some people that I shouldn't have. Like,
Yeah.
I should have said no. And, like,
Mhm.
anytime that like little thing happens in the pit of your stomach, like, listen to that,
Yeah.
like what we're talking about. I'm talking about the opposite, where, like, somebody came to me with an opportunity, and I researched it so I could do it. Like, let's just make it happen. The flip side of that is, somebody comes to you with an opportunity, and you're like, "Ugh, I don't know." And if you just let that, like, "But I need the money," like, override everything, you can get yourself into situations that really don't serve you or the person who is coming to you. And I think that I think that that's really important. Oh, Heather Zeitzwolf, is this happening now? Yes, Heather, it's happening right
It's
now.
all happening right now.
It's all happening right now. Please send us your questions, Heather,
That's right.
and thank you
That's
for
right.
watching and hopefully listening. So if yeah, so I think that what you have to think about as a business owner, it's really complicated. When you're talking about boosting business visibility, it isn't all about social media. It's about building these relationships with people in an offline way, that you talk to people and you do things with them and you find ways to collaborate with them. And then you're actually raising community for more people. It's not just about what am I going to get out of it. It's about
Mhm.
what are you going to get out of it? How are we all going to help each other? And how are we going to get things out to everybody?
That's right. That's right. And that's how you build a strong community because if you are the leader and you are offering service to other people, then other people will see that and start to offer service as well. And we all help each other and we grow stronger because of that. Um, we talked a little bit about polarizing opinions and you know who are we going to work with? We can't work with everybody. We really want to narrow it down, right? That's one of the strategies of marketing is to narrow down who is your ideal client and really focus in on those people and having them come to you because if you're just like I can help anybody like Jen said you may end up in a bad situation that you didn't want to be in.
Absolutely. And I think that, and Heather, Heather's talking about, how do I need to slide into DMs? I mean, so sometimes you do need to slide into DMs. Like if you have something additional that you want to like share that maybe you don't want to share with everybody. I think that what's happening is that a lot of people set up these, and you can do this. It goes against the terms of service to do these automations in people's DMs, like especially on LinkedIn. You can set up an automation, but I mean, people hate that. Like when people want to connect with me now, I'm like, "Are you a real person?"
Mm,
I asked somebody that yesterday, and
mhm,
she was like, "I absolutely am, and I absolutely understand why you're asking me that." Because one of the things that I don't like is when people connect with me and then they try to sell to me immediately
yeah,
in DMs. So
yeah.
it is about like picking and choosing that time when you want to like um, talk to somebody offline, and that's really the best time to do it. Um, building a lot of relationships, from LinkedIn. I agree with you, Heather. She said, I build a lot of relationships offline from LinkedIn, but Instagram seems a lot more difficult. And I do think that, and so for those of you who don't know Heather Zeitzwolf, she is like basically the vegan accountant. Like she's the person to know if you're creative and you have some tax questions or some financial questions. She's really smart, and I think that part of it is that what did she say? Oh my god. I hate that, Jen. It happens to me daily. She's
Some
talking about
people
people selling in your DMs.
yeah.
So, I do think that Instagram is a tough nut to crack for a lot of people with visibility. I think it depends a lot on the industry that you're in. If it is a good industry for Instagram, like I think Instagram is great for visual stuff. I think it's great for podcasters if you're making audiograms and things like that. I also think that it's about going and, like, you can do that same level of networking with Instagram, it just takes a lot more work, it seems like, because it's not really the platform where people are like, "Hey, I met this person, do you wanna meet this person?" It just
Mm,
doesn't seem like it's the type of platform that does that.
yeah.
What do you think, Shelley?
I don't find it user friendly. I never have. Instagram is a place to post your photos and look at other people's photos, and that's kind of been the way it is. And I've been trying to use it more. I've been trying to promote things a little bit more and connect with people that, for instance, people that I met through She Podcasts. But and some of them use Instagram a lot more,
Mhm.
but they leave messages and things, and then I'll find them days later, "Oh, I didn't even see it," because I'm not really familiar with the platform and I get lost in it. I prefer, if you really want to get hold of me, please email me. I will see that. And, if you want to send me a LinkedIn message, I will see that. And also, LinkedIn will email me and say, hey, you got a message. So
Right.
definitely I'll see
Yeah.
that. But with Instagram, every now and then there's a little number on my phone.
Little
Maybe I should
note.
see what's going
Yeah.
on Instagram, but I get kind of lost in it and I don't find it user friendly. So it's just not one of my favorites.
I think it depends on how you wanna do it. So, the people I know who've been really successful with Instagram have, like, advocates or ambassadors. They have more people that are kind of, helping you build your credibility and influence through the platform. A previous episode that you could listen to actually is, and it's on YouTube as well as an interview. It's with the COVID-19 project, and it's about teen entrepreneurs who started a new project, a new business where they are mentoring kids around the world. And they go through in that show and break down exactly how they're reaching out to people. And but they had all these volunteers who were going out and talking to people. And that was how they found me, was they messaged me on Instagram. It's like, hey, can we be on your show? Take a look at our profile, all of this stuff. And then I did the same thing I did before where I, checked them out, are they for
Mhm.
real and all that kind of stuff. So there's really like I won't say a formula, but there is a way that you can increase engagement on Instagram. But you do have to it does take some work. I had somebody else who I knew that, the stickers and planners um, industry is a big deal. A lot of people like to fill out their like business planners and their weekly planners. And it was a thing on Instagram where people just go crazy for the stickers. And then they would send people to like, the places to get them, and they'd all talk about specials. So there seem to be all these micro communities
Mm.
in Instagram, and it's about kind of finding that and then cultivating relationships so that you have real fans. I'm not talking about like fake fans. And then it really helps you build that credibility. For me, Instagram is just kind of fun to look at pictures. I haven't really found it to be like enriching in terms of generating clients.
Mhm.
But that's just me. And it just
Well, something
depends.
that, Toby does a lot that he enjoys, and he's gotten some results from it is Facebook groups that are specific to, an interest. Now, he belongs to a couple of Facebook groups, and they're usually product related for him. One is about, surfaces, photography surfaces for small set photography, and he belongs to 2 different groups,
Mhm.
put out by the people who sell that product. And there are these people in there, they're constantly posting pictures. Oh, I took this picture with this surface, and here's what it looked like when I set it up, and here's how I did. And they have a whole lot of conversation going on because they're all involved in that as a hobby or
Sure.
even a profession.
Yeah.
And they'll ask him, where did you get that tripod, or where did you get that light stand? And he will send them to our Amazon store, and they'll usually buy something. So there is, a little bit of that going on, but again, that
Mhm.
takes a lot of time and effort on the person's part to be in those groups and making those connections.
It does. I'm in a good group on LinkedIn called Ready Set Pivot. It's a great group, and there's a lot. I like LinkedIn groups better because they're not quite. I don't. It doesn't require as much time.
Mm.
Um,
Mhm.
but we do have, people. So get Sean says she gets several connects and instant sales in mail. You know, I do too. And like I said at the beginning, I research them and see if it's going to be fruitful or not. And there are a lot of people though who just go for the sale a little too quick for me. And that's kind of an insta block. Honestly, I'm not really interested in that.
We have a question here
We have a
from Heather.
question here from Heather. I was in a clubhouse room yesterday discussing selling on Pinterest, but I don't know how to build community through Pinterest, especially in the financial space. So Pinterest traditionally has been fabulous, really great for bloggers and content creators. And I have a lot of people on Pinterest connected to me. I got some help setting up my Pinterest. I don't know a lot about it in the financial space, but it's kind of like anything. So the difference between Pinterest is a lot more like YouTube than other social media. It actually has, like, if you're doing how to, you want to be on YouTube because that's where the DIY addicts all go. If
Mhm.
you want to buy something, a lot of people go to Pinterest actually to research products and buy. So it's like most social media isn't a transactional channel. That's why it's like people dip into your InMail and try to sell to you, and you're like on social media and you're like, I don't even want that right now. People actually go 38, I think it was like 38% of people go onto Pinterest to buy something. And that's part of their
Hmm.
research for a product. So it's a great place to sell something on Pinterest. And they've made it phenomenally easy to set up a store now. You can have promoted pins, although the promoted pins are costing more than they were about 2 years ago when I first started on Pinterest. And it's a good place to drive links. Pinterest pins that you put up on Pinterest, you can get backlinks for that. They show up in search, unlike if you post to Facebook, because like Facebook and Google don't really like each other that much. But Pinterest and YouTube, they show up all the time. And so yeah, I mean, it's a great place to go find stuff and to post stuff. There's nothing wrong with setting up your Pinterest and adding things. It is kind of like YouTube where you have to do a little bit of search research. And if you're answering questions, then that's a big way to do it. Heather's writing a lot of stuff in here. Let's see. So, let's see. I find Clubhouse is a great place for community engagement, but it can also be a time suck and a waste of time when you try to be strategic. It's a crapshoot. Yeah, I Clubhouse is fine, but I do find that sometimes with Clubhouse, it is a lot of people who are all trying to do the same thing. And I did find that for me, I was wasting time. So I didn't stick with it. It's also not a great are you the same way, Shelley?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine if that's your thing. I think that if you're really trying to sell maybe to other podcasters, it probably is a good place.
Mm,
Um, I, you know, I just don't know. I feel like Clubhouse is something that's just going to get absorbed by somebody else at some point because it's a little limiting, really,
mhm.
in terms of the offer. Um, then Heather says that she uses Pinterest to collect cute haircuts and looks for weird dolls. But that's what's so great about Pinterest is if you put your stuff on Pinterest and there are people who are interested in finance, if there are people who are interested in what it is that you do, there's a board out there for that, you know,
Mm,
and you can be involved in that community and add to that community. I would say that if I were to do, so Heather is, the vegan queen, and I mean, you're such a unique person, Heather, and so I would say infuse that into what you're talking about, on your podcast, on your Pinterest board, and what it is that you do, because the more niche and creative you are, the more you're going to be able to attract the very specific people that you want to reach.
that's right. That's right. Speak your truth.
That's right. That's right.
And the people who agree with you, well, will show up.
They'll show up.
That's right.
So, um, tweak of the week.
Oh, yeah, let's talk a little just for a second about Descript. Well, we got into Descript a little bit because they did put out, well, they had a video when they said, "Oh, we're putting out all these new things, come see it." So we went and we watched, and I learned how to do some new things with our audiograms, which I've been going audiogram crazy this week with
I noticed that.
Descript to promote the release of our new book, the Women in Podcasting book. We wanted to make sure that we do our due diligence to promote that book because of the people who gave their time and effort to collaborate and contribute to that. So we want to make
So,
sure that we share that. But in
so
Descript,
wait, before you move on, what's
oh
an audiogram for people who don't
Oh,
know?
oh, okay. So an audiogram is basically it's a square picture, and on that square picture, you'll put some of your uh, the talking points that you want to share from your podcast or your live stream. You'll just put the words, and it highlights the words. So it's it's great, and, of course, people can listen to it with sound and hear the person's voice, or they can just read it as they're going through their phone. I try to keep mine around 50 seconds long, so they're not too long. And, uh, something that Descript is offered for a little while now, but they keep improving it as it goes along, is called Overdub, where you can, clone your voice basically, so that if you are using it for editing audio, for
Yeah.
instance, and say I was trying to create an audiogram and I couldn't find the exact right things to go together, and sometimes I had to go into um, other podcasts that I did with other people because I knew I
Yeah.
asked that question in that specific way in another one, but let me put it here because that's what this woman is talking about. So I wanted to set it up so it made sense. With Overdub, I could have just written in some of the words that I wanted to say to set up her answer correctly. So I didn't have to continue, to look everywhere for when did I say this? I
Yeah.
could have just typed it in. And then because I
And then it
cloned
puts
my
your voice
voice,
in.
it would just sound like I said that, and then she gave
Yeah.
a good answer. So, uh, it's helping with that, and it's really a fun thing to play with.
What I love Descript for is video. For most of the people here is video. So if you I use it for that primarily, because I haven't been doing as much with, like, transcripts and all of that kind of thing, but I can generate, like, closed captioning, which I think is really cool for video, and then you can edit video by just editing the text underneath, and, like, it edits the video for you. So if you have videos and you're like, "Oh, but I'd really just want more control about how to, like, take that stuff out," I mean, it's really great and it's really easy. Um, to do it that way, then you don't have to become like a really big video editor.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm, and you can just grab clips and make a whole new, file that's just your clips, and then you can edit
yeah.
just that. Yeah.
So, Julia asked about audiograms. So we kind of covered that a minute ago, but what Descript does, there's also Headliner. There's a few different things like that. You put up a picture, and it will place the text over the top of it while it plays the audio, and it's really easy. It's really easy to do it. I think Headliner is super easy. I think Descript is really easy for that, and then Descript is making it also good where you can just kind of take your they were isn't the change now that you can just upload, like, text and make, um and make a audiogram out of that?
You can.
Yeah, so
Mhm,
it's
yeah,
gotten a lot easier, and they're
mhm.
really fun. I mean, I
They
think they're
have an
really
audiogram
engaging.
button. You can just go make an audiogram, and it
Make an
just does it.
audiogram.
Like, "Okay, download that. Okay, here I go." And, if you wanna find audiograms, follow Jen and I on social media, and,
Yeah,
you'll find us by our names, and,
we've
you'll
got them.
see a lot of audiograms.
Yeah, the problem with running 2 companies is I don't have as much time to, like, dive into every single program and, like, keep updated on it, but apparently there's an audiogram button in Descript now,
That's right.
uh, and, but it's a really easy way. It's really good for people, to follow along. So many people don't have the volume up on video on
Mhm,
social, but if you have an audiogram and it's giving people the words, they can kinda see what it's about, and then if they're like, "Oh, this is really interesting," then they can unmute and get a good sense of it. I like it in Descript because it kinda highlights the words, and it reminds me of when I was
mhm,
a kid and it was like sing along.
mhm.
Like, I just
Yeah,
love that kinda stuff.
yeah.
Um, I think that they're a good way for, like, engagement and really helpful in that regard, and Descript makes it very easy. Headliner, I think there's a few other ones too, but don't overwhelm yourself. So, um, researching everything. So, what else have we got? Are we good?
I think we're at our inspirational moment. Uh, so, I wanna share this. It's just I told you last week that I was reading through the, Stoic book, and it's a daily journal, basically, and today it was
Yeah,
about, how do you deal with anxiety? And a lot of times, if my schedule gets, delayed or interrupted, I get a little anxious, and I
yeah,
found that, It used to be when I was doing new to live streaming, I'd get very anxious about the start of the live stream, and it had to start on time, and everything had to be perfect. And of course, yesterday, our guest showed up a couple minutes late, and Toby's camera didn't work, and, a lot of things went wrong, and I just flowed with it because we've done this so many times, it doesn't
Yeah.
bother me anymore, but there are still things that do bother me, so I'm trying to take that calmness and that, you know what, it does in an hour and a half from now, it's not gonna matter that we started 2 minutes late, nobody's gonna care.
Yeah.
What matters is in the moment, how did I react? How did I treat the people I was working with? Did I point fingers and say, "You were late and I'm mad at you"? No, I
No.
just flowed with it. It's like, this is life and it's all good. And so
Yeah.
I try
Yeah.
to take that into the rest of my life, wherever I feel anxiety and my schedule's getting shaken up, I try to remember that moment, it's all good. Just
You
bring that
know,
with me.
it's funny because I've really found that the thing I've been working on the most in this new year is setting up some systems, getting some accountability. I joined a group called Fizzle, and I really like that group too. And then I started using the Calm app, and I do like daily meditations that it's almost a good way to just kind of let go of whatever happened yesterday
Yeah.
and getting restarted on the day, and it's been a wonderful way to really reduce anxiety, just kinda turn the page, and I think it's really hard in these COVID times to do that. I mean, we tend to keep holding on to the stuff because it's like it's like an every day is like the same day and it's different, like
Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day, so and I think that anything that we can do, I mean, I love that, I think it's important for us to just show up and roll with it
Mhm.
and keep on doing our thing.
My husband was watching Groundhog Day yesterday, and it reminded me that the kind of the moral or the underlying truth of that story is nothing changes until you do. Um, so,
100%.
it's good to be
Yeah.
reminded of that. Nothing changes until you do, and what can you change? What do you have control over? Your thoughts, and what you do with those thoughts.
I think that's it. I got nothing
Yeah,
to add to that. I think that's wonderful, and I totally agree.
yeah,
So, everybody out there, if you have questions, comments, please subscribe and, yeah, send us your questions and, yeah, just stay mellow. Enjoy it.
alright, and we'll see you next week.
That's right.
Bye for now. Thank you for joining the Women Conquer Business podcast, hosted by Shelley Carney and Jen McFarland. Please subscribe and leave a comment or question regarding your most challenging content creation or business problem. Then share this podcast with family and friends so they can find the support they need to expand their brand and share their message with the world. Check the show notes for links to valuable resources and come back again next week.